Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, both Bitcoin and Ethereum are still playing out this bullish divergence, but in the short term, Ethereum is now retesting this previous important area of resistance, which I'll talk about later in the video, so make sure to watch to the end. First of all, just giving you a quick update here on the daily Bitcoin chart, and right now the daily Bitcoin RSI is still continuing this successful retest from this previous descending line of resistance. And so, like I explained in more detail in my last video on the channel, technically speaking, this previous descending line of resistance is now acting as new support in the daily Bitcoin RSI. And technically speaking, anytime where we flip previous resistance into new support, that is technically bullish price structure, which here in the RSI means strength. Because of course the RSI is the relative strength index, and so if this is trending back to the upside, this often acts as a leading indicator for the price of Bitcoin, because once again, as I've explained recently on the channel and also all the way back here during early July, the RSI back then on the daily time frame already began showing weakness before the price began showing weakness. And that is just one example. Of course, you can take a look at the RSI and Bitcoin throughout history, and we can see this happen over and over again, where the RSI often shows weakness before the price. But of course, the same can be said on the flip side. Obviously, the RSI can show strength before the Bitcoin price starts showing more strength. And so once again, as I've been saying since all the way back down here, when a bullish divergence confirmed a few weeks ago now, the RSI has already been showing strength, forming higher lows and now higher highs, and breaking out above resistance, flipping that into new support. And only just recently, over the last 1 to 2 weeks, we have started to see more bullish price action play out after much more of a bearish trend that we've seen over the last couple of months. And so once again, that is the situation right now. We're starting to gain more strength here in the somewhat shorter term relative to the daily time frame. But in order to confirm an actual bullish trend on the daily chart again, we ideally need to break out above this previous high, sitting closer towards around $28,000. Because of course, if that happens, then we have higher highs in the price, while also now potentially forming a higher low, and obviously higher lows and higher highs is a bullish trend. And so essentially, as I've also explained recently on the channel, we do already have some early bullish trend reversal signals here in the RSI, but we have not fully confirmed a bullish trend in the price action alone on the daily time frame, because we have not yet seen a breakout above 28k. But even though that's the case, once again, we're still due to see at least some sort of pause or relief from that bearish trend on the daily time frame, due to a bullish divergence which is still active here on the daily time frame. And as usual, the most common outcomes from a bullish divergence is either choppy sideways price action, if not a slight bullish relief, as the most common outcomes, and that's exactly what we're seeing as expected. And just taking another look at that daily Bitcoin MACD, as of right now, this is still showing a relatively low momentum, which basically means we do not currently have a strong direction on the chart. But with that being said, technically speaking, the MACD is still currently looking more bullish than bearish. So even though we are not seeing a lot of momentum, once again, we have not yet confirmed a new bearish cross. If you're looking at the histogram within the MACD indicator, it is still sitting in the green. And as for short-term support and resistance, looking at the Fibonacci retracement tool from this previous swing high at around 28k approximately, down to this swing low at around 24.9k on the 4-hour time frame, what we can now see is obviously a recent breakout above this golden pocket area of resistance, which the price is now currently retesting. But we can also see a rejection close to the 78.6% Fibonacci level of resistance, sitting at around 27.4k. And on top of that, if you're drawing a descending line of resistance from these previous highs, we can also see this line of resistance come into play at around 27.2k. So once again, just in the immediate short term, the resistance to pay attention to is first of all 27.2k and then 27.4k. But in a more bullish scenario, if we actually see a breakout above 27.4k with confirmation, then in that case, next I'll be targeting closer towards 28,000. And as for short-term support, we could find a bit of short-term support around this golden pocket area of resistance, now acting as support, sitting at around 26.8k to 26.9k. But if we actually see a confirmed break back below 26.8k with candle closes back below that level, then in that case, we could likely drop down to this 50% retracement level at around 26.5k. But in a more bearish scenario, if that level does not hold up, then we also have this 38.2% Fibonacci level sitting at around 26.1k, which could now act as new support. But obviously, in the somewhat shorter term here, over the last few weeks, we have seen a lot of choppy sideways price action, basically volatile movements to the upside and to the downside, while not much trend has been really playing out in the shorter term here. But believe it or not, this is actually perfect for making a lot of money very easily. And if you want to know how to make money very easily during choppy sideways price action just like this, then stick around to the end of this video to find out more. But first, getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily ETH to US dollar chart, and what we are now seeing as of recording this video is an attempted breakout in the price of ETH above this important area of resistance. And in case you're new to this channel, this important area of resistance is sitting in between around 1620 to 1660 and is based on previous support and also the volume profile indicator. But at least as of right now, at the time of recording this video, we have not yet seen a successful daily candle close above 1660. And so at the very least, we need to first of all see a daily candle close, ideally multiple daily candle closes, and even better, if we actually flip that previous resistance into new support again, then in that case, that can also act as extra confirmation, helping to confirm the breakout above this resistance. But at least for now, we are seeing an attempted breakout, so not yet confirmed, but an attempted breakout above this resistance, which is an early sign of a possible bullish trend reversal, because as I've said over the last few weeks, we first need to see a breakout above 1660 with confirmation in order to potentially help confirm more of a bullish trend reversal, because clearly for the last few months, we have been in more of a bearish trend since around mid-July. But if we can now see a confirmed breakout above 1660, that could potentially form a new higher high, while also forming these higher lows in the price. And on top of that, if you're looking at the volume profile indicator, immediately above this resistance, we don't really have a lot of resistance, which means we could potentially see a quick move back to the upside, perhaps back up towards around 1.8k, which is where the volume profile indicator is showing the next important area of resistance. And once again, as I've been talking about over the last few weeks, the RSI has been a leading indicator for this bullish price action, which is now playing out, because as you can see over the last few weeks, for nearly 1 month now, the RSI has started to trend back to the upside, forming higher lows and higher highs. And this is usually a sign of strength for not just the RSI, but also the price action, because usually we see the price action follow with more strength after we see the RSI gain strength. And now, of course, there is a possible hidden bearish divergence forming, because we do have higher highs in the RSI, while also still seeing lower highs in the price compared to this previous high. But it is important to understand that that potential hidden bearish divergence is not yet confirmed, because, for example, if the price continues higher above this previous high, then there's simply no divergence there at all if we have higher highs in the price and higher highs in the RSI. And so essentially what we would need to see in order to flip much more bearish again and continue on with that previous bearish trend is, first of all, break back below that area that I just mentioned. And we would also need to see a breakdown in the RSI, basically break this higher low, higher high structure in the RSI. If we break below these previous lows, then not only would that be a bearish signal in the RSI, but that can also invalidate the bullish divergence, which is still active on the daily time frame. So once again, for now, we still have an active bullish divergence playing out, which means we're due to see either choppy sideways price action on the daily chart, if not a slight bullish relief, which is playing out as expected. And essentially, while this bullish divergence remains active and is playing out, once again, that potential hidden bearish divergence is not yet active, because we still have a bullish divergence playing out. And as for the daily Ethereum MACD, as of right now, this is beginning to show more bullish momentum show up. But with that being said, it is is still currently showing a relatively low momentum compared to some of these previous movements. And so essentially, instead of seeing a massive high momentum movement, we're unlikely going to see something like that, at least while the MACD is still showing relatively low momentum. But with that being said, even though the momentum is not as high compared to these previous movements, of course, it is still currently looking more bullish than bearish. And as for short-term support and resistance, looking at the Fibonacci retracement tool on the 4-hour time frame from this previous swing high at around 1746 down to this swing low at around 1530, and what we can now see is the price of ETH actually first of all break out and now retest this golden pocket area of resistance, which is sitting in between around 1660 to 1670, and this is potentially now acting as support and was previous resistance back here. And so essentially, if we can now confirm this area as new support by seeing a successful bounce from that area and basically holding above that price range, then obviously that would be a bullish signal in the shorter term, pointing towards the price potentially heading up to this 78.6% Fibonacci level of resistance, sitting closer towards around 1.7k. And in a more bullish scenario, if we actually break out above 1.7k, then in that case, we would likely head up towards this previous high, sitting at around 1740 to 1750. But if the price of ETH cannot actually hold above this golden pocket, and instead we actually see a break back below 1660 with confirmation, so candle closes back below 1660, then in that case, obviously that would be a short-term bearish signal if that happens, and in that case, we would likely see a drop at least down to this level, sitting at around 1635. And in a more bearish scenario, if 1635 does not hold up as support, then in that case, we could drop down towards around 1610. And as for the short-term trend, it's clear that we are looking more bullish than bearish in terms of the trend, but once again, we're still seeing a lot of choppy sideways price action, a lot of volatile movements both to the upside and to the downside in the somewhat shorter term here. But believe it or not, you can make a lot of money very easily during choppy sideways price action just like this. And if you want to know how to do that, then check out the video in the bottom left of your screen right now, because that video right there shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action, and the video in the top left shows you how you can easily profit if the price is bullish or bearish using AI. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.